Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, Bridget Marshall speaks for the first time since being appointed to the Victoria ISD board.
House Republicans put Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas in the hot seat today over Border Patrol policies.
Plus, a teacher in Houston loses her job after attending a drag show.
Well, here in the Coastal Bend, we've picked up some showers and we've got one big thunderstorm. Get a load of this. It's rolling toward the Cuero area. It's a big thunderstorm, big and tall, and it's going to be dropping some heavy rain right through DeWitt County within this hour. So stay tuned. We'll track that with you and talk about the dust coming in this coming weekend. All that in just a moment.
And the Industrial Little League softball team is keeping its hopes alive. They're in the middle of a game right now. That's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
Andrew Rokovich, who was an applicant for the Victoria ISD Board District 2 trustee position, told us, quote, "I appreciate the board's time and consideration. I don't believe they've made a decision for Victoria that will stand any test of time." Emmett Alvarez, also an applicant for the District 2 trustee position, told us, quote, "I could imagine she could have a conflict of interest on voting on tax rates. I'm not familiar with a situation like this," unquote. The Victoria ISD Board of Trustees, in a majority decision Tuesday night, appointed Bridget Marshall as the new District 2 trustee. Marshall is the chair of the Humanities Department and associate professor of English at Victoria College. We asked Marshall that since she works at VC, if there would be a conflict of interest for her voting on certain issues as a Victoria ISD board member.
Should it present itself, I would recuse myself from that voting. I don't intend to operate with any ulterior motives. I don't have anything to gain. You know, people, it's important to remember that everybody on that board is serving free of charge. It's not a paid position. We're not gaining anything. We're all trying to serve the community.
Marshall's appointment comes following the resignation of Dr. Estela de los Santos.
Here's your viewer poll this evening. Scan that QR code on your screen to take part right now. The question is, are you satisfied with the Victoria ISD board appointment for District 2, yes or no? Well, according to these results, 39% say yes and 61% say no. Thank you for voting. We want to hear your opinion on this. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we're going to have an update on 25 News now at 10.
The city of Cuero dealing with a stray cat issue. Residents can call 361-277-3552 to borrow an animal trap. They only have about 7, so there may be a waiting list. Animal Control Services will pick up the stray at no cost. The city of Cuero also looking into a trap neuter release program. It is against city ordinance in Cuero to feed stray animals on public property in Cuero. Parks and Rec Director Jason Alfaro has resigned in Victoria. A City of Victoria spokesperson says Alfaro moving on to pursue his passion as an arborist. He joined the city in May of 2020.
The city of Victoria is now under Stage 3 water restrictions. The Guadalupe River is unusually low right now, which limits the city's ability to pump water. Under Stage 3, residents with addresses ending in an even number can water their yards between 6 to 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. to midnight on Sundays and Thursdays. Addresses ending in an odd number can water on Saturdays and Wednesdays. Stage 3 restrictions are designed to reduce Victoria's total water usage by 10%. DeWitt County now under a 90-day burn ban, which expires on October 22nd. The DeWitt County Commissioner's Court approved the order during a meeting Tuesday. Violations of the ban can result in fines of up to $500. Burning will be allowed in screen-covered containers only. And with that, let's take a look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis. Mac, dry, dry, dry.
Yes, and those are the effects of the dryness. But as we speak of dryness, now all of a sudden we got this big thunderstorm rolling through. It developed just about an hour ago. It's just about to get through the Cuero area. This is a big storm. Probably the top is maybe about 40,000 feet. It's going to be headed toward the DeWitt County area. Those of you in Cuero know what I'm talking about. It's going westbound, so it'll affect other people in that area. We'll talk more about our rain chance and the dust chance. All that coming up in a moment.
Mac, thank you. House Republicans put Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas in the hot seat today over the administration's Border Patrol policies. Mayorkas maintains that the administration's approach to managing the border securely and humanely is working despite a flawed immigration system. But House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan said that Mayorkas is painting a rosy picture of a apparently disastrous border situation. According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection data, border crossings are still high, but arrests have decreased. As for now, the House Republicans launched the groundwork for a potential impeachment against Mayorkas. Also in Texas, a teacher has been fired after going to a drag show in Houston and posting photos of it on Facebook. The small Christian school where she has worked for nearly 2 decades says she violated the school policy.
The woman who lost her job says she doesn't think the Christian school's policy is very Christian.
Christy Maris calls her first drag show a blast. She proudly posted these photos and videos on Facebook the next day. Then the phone call came.
I feel like we were treated like criminals.
After 19 years at First Baptist Academy in Baytown, Maris was fired. Her coworker was too. And according to the school's senior pastor, it's all because of this line in the school operating policies manual. I will act in a godly and moral fashion at work, on Facebook, and in my community. Maris had agreed to the clause, but didn't realize she was breaking it by going to a drag show.
They're entertainers. No, I would have never thought in a million years that this would have happened. Never. I mean, we were in disbelief. I mean, we still are. I mean, we're heartbroken. You know, we had relationships with parents and the kids. And I didn't even get to say bye to a lot of the kids.
Maris was a physical education teacher, so dedicated to her job that she had gone back to school several years ago for an extra certification. She's also a devout Christian.
What do you hope your kids learn from this?
To love everybody equally. Because, you know, say that was my son, I would love him. It wouldn't matter to me, you know, as long as he's happy. And so I want everybody else to do that too.
Maris is done teaching for now, but says she's not done having a blast.
Yeah, I'll do it again. It was too much fun. And it was good music.
In North Texas, a school board voted this week to restrict restrooms used to the gender on birth certificates. KXAS reports Carroll ISD teachers also not required to use gender identifying pronouns. Trustees approved a new student handbook and code of conduct for the upcoming school year that no longer contain references transgender and sexual orientation in the written language. The new policies approved will take effect this school year starting August 15th. Officials at a North Texas high school held a full-scale mass casualty training exercise with local law enforcement today in the simulated active shooter scenario. A shooting was reported at the school, and within seconds, that message started playing on speakers across the entire campus. Within minutes, police officers responded to secure the scene, followed by medical teams. This was all a simulation now. In the scenario, the shooter was killed by law enforcement, but officers practiced going room to room checking for injured and deceased.
Rare is the case where we get all these organizations to come together in one big event and test what it is that we're doing and how we work together and where our strengths are, where our challenges are.
Observers were on site to take notes, including city leaders and police chiefs from other areas, learning from this experience and providing feedback.
For the second week in a row, the Texas A&M Faculty Senate wants a meeting with leadership. KBTX reports the Senate is concerned about political interference and a professor's suspension. This investigation started after a professor, while giving a lecture on the opiate crisis, was accused of criticizing Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. The professor was suspended, but A&M officials say the professor's remarks were mischaracterized and she has since returned to her full duties.
Here's some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. A local artist in Port Lavaca talks about the making of the mural for the Lighthouse Beach bathrooms. And the Calhoun County ISD is sponsoring Teachers of Tomorrow, a program to allow individuals with a degree to earn their teaching certification. Plus, one man has turned his front yard into a home for his wooden figures collection in Port Lavaca. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. So that way, you're on YouTube, you can get Crossroads Today. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 6. Congress hears testimony today from military personnel regarding the potential dangers of UFOs.
Also ahead, gas prices make a noticeable one-day jump right here in Victoria.
Victoria taking a big jump for the second straight day. AAA Texas reports the average price for a gallon of regular gasoline in Victoria surged by 7 cents Wednesday to $3.28 a gallon. This comes the day after gas prices in Victoria jumped 10 cents in one day. AAA Texas reports the average gas price per gallon in Victoria 1 week ago was $3.06.
The truth is out there, and Congress seems determined to find out what exactly that is. You see, lawmakers on Capitol Hill today heard testimony from former military and intelligence personnel.
These men who say UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena, are more common than we might know. Now they're asking lawmakers if the government knows more about UFOs than they let on.
UFOs are real.
As we convene here, UAP are in our airspace.
And the government needs to take reports of sightings more seriously.
These sightings are not rare or isolated, they are routine.
At least according to testimony from 3 former military and intelligence personnel making their case for more government transparency before a House Oversight Subcommittee Wednesday.
The American people deserve to know what is happening in our skies.
In April, the Pentagon said it was tracking some 650 incidents involving unidentified anomalous phenomena that are currently unexplained, but emphasized there was no evidence of extraterrestrial life or of objects that defy physics.
Well, if there's look at that thing. It's rotating.
But former Navy fighter pilot Ryan Graves and former Navy Commander David Fravor say they have seen UAPs up close and personal, performing unexplainable maneuvers.
We have nothing that can stop in midair and go the other direction.
And believe they may pose a threat to the safety of pilots and the country.
If UAP are foreign drones, it is an urgent national security problem. If it is something else, it is an issue for science. In either case, unidentified objects are concerned for flight safety.
The hearing just the latest effort by Congress to find the truth and what it means for us here on Earth.
Am I certain that all of these sightings are aliens? Of course not. But I do believe unidentified aerial phenomenon around our top secret military bases is a possible threat that we have to take seriously.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Here's some of the top headlines you can read in the Cuero Record. DeWitt County Commissioners implement burn ban, and the Cuero Development Corporation welcomes Constance Donalds as a new board member. Plus, the Guadalupe Valley Electric Corporation honors Cuero resident Linda Anzaldúa. You can read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com.
Well, as I mentioned at the top of the show, there's one big thunderstorm rolling around up there. Thanks to our new meteorologist, Parker Cox, we got this photo of a thunderstorm right here. This is the blow-off of the cloud deck. It is rolling toward DeWitt County. If you're in Cuero, you're going to be getting this. So all of a sudden, we got something to talk about. We'll have more on that and talk about the dust coming into the area coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We have our live WeatherBug cam. Here's, of course, the Cuero water tower, the thunder shower. We're seeing the rain as well. People out there doing a little exercise in the field, they got the nice little raindrops as well. Right now, we're at 95. It's a little gusty out there because of that nearby thunderstorm. We did manage to get up to 97, which is about where we're supposed to be this time of year. I mean, it's July, it's still hot. But it's certainly not in the record books. And this is very exciting. We got 0.12 of an inch of rain at the airport today, so it goes down as a rainy day. Now, as you might have heard earlier in the show, we talked about Stage 3 water restrictions. So if you really want to read all the details, go to the City Municipal Code, Section 13 through 77, and this is a very short version of it, okay? The idea is to reduce water usage by everybody by 10%. And we can do it. We can do it. It's not that hard. Sprinklers are only going to be allowed on your designated watering day and during the appropriate hours. Decorative fountains, obviously if you have fish in them, you don't want to turn it off, but decorative fountains are supposed to be shut off. Leaks, if you have a water leak somewhere, it really needs to be fixed. No restaurant water service. In other words, if you ask for water, they'll bring you water. But they're not just going to bring you water. They're supposed to cut that down, because think of the glass water, the water to wash it, the water to clean it, to rinse it, and to bring it back. We saved 3 glasses right there. And golf courses, as I read the letter, it says they have to be on not city water, but on private water sources. And here's the reason for it. River levels, Guadalupe River. Here it is in feet. 1, 2, 3, 4 feet. And you can see how ever since the rain, we're now at 4 feet. That's as much water as we got in the river. So if Our river is where we get all our water. Well, you can see how we need to be very cautious, because the prediction is that we're going to continue having only 4 feet of water for the next 7 to 10 days because we don't see any rain on the horizon. Well, actually, that's not true. I saw a little rain on the horizon headed toward Cuero. Oh, you look at that. That's going to be good. Right about there. This is a thunderstorm. It's got thunder and lightning in it. It is blowing through the level of the dust, and it is now headed toward Cuero. So if you're out in that area, look for a big thunder downpour in the next hour, and you're going to be the lucky ones. Other than that, we look at the west coast of Africa and see that big, long plume of dust that is now rolling into our area. There you see it right about there. For the next couple of days, it's going to cut down our rain chance, and it will also give us a little bit of a red sky at sundown. Now, the big dome of doom still exists, but as you can see, it's far to the north, and it is giving us a little bit of break. Now you add the dust on that, and it's sort of cutting that opportunity down. But as we go through the next 7 days, you can see how the dome is going to be up there in the Central Plains, and you're not going to believe this one. The forecast high up here in St. Louis, it's going to be at about 100, 102 degrees over the next 4 or 5 days, maybe even longer. They're going to be getting into the heat that we were having. So we are now, of course, looking at your day planner for Port Lavaca, getting up to 94 tomorrow with a couple of isolated showers still. And it's still possible to blow through that dirt. And then 97, the high in Cuero. We're going to see a decrease in the rain chance now as we get to the weekend. Plenty of sun, plenty of hot and humid weather, with hopefully another shot at some tropical moisture about the middle of next week. That is your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody we've got a QR code. Love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. And now here's Karina.
Thank you, Mac. And now let's go to Sports Director Gina Perez.
Thanks, Karina. Over 30 athletes from Cuero are competing at state this week. That's coming up after the break. At Crossroads, the Industrial Little League team is one elimination game away from the title game, and it took on New Mexico earlier today. The team from the Lone Star State fell behind early in the first inning after a hit back to the pitcher ended in a bad throw, which would bring home the first run of the game for New Mexico. Texas East finds themselves down, but not out. Score still 1-0 heading into the fourth inning, and with the runner on second, Kinley Muldoon knocks one into center field. Ava Collins rounding third. There's a play at the plate. She is safe. Game tied at 1. Malden at second with a double. Next batter up is Leighton Hunt. She attempts a squeeze bunt. Malden is in, and she is safe. Now Hunt is rounding first, going to second. The ball gets past the outfielder, and she comes all the way home for an easy score inside the park home run off of a bunt. Texas East is playing for a chance at the title match against Louisiana right now, and Reagan Little just hit a shot to left field to bring in 2 more runs. The score is 4-2 in the bottom of the fourth, with Texas East in the lead, hoping to make the title game. The 6-and-under softball team finished its season and went undefeated for the entire season, and they received some bling bling. The softball team capped off its season after winning its final 2 games last night. In doing so, they received their rings for being the Summer League champions. Now, speaking of rings, the Cuero Gobblers Summer Select Track team is being led by state champion coach Victor Mathis. Of the 35 athletes that competed in the regional track meet, 31 qualified for state. 2 of those include Jensen Gray, who is competing in the long jump 100-meter dash and 4x400-meter dash, with his teammate Brooklyn Bland, who is competing in the 400-meter dash, both of which have very different perspectives on the state competition.
That it helps me get faster and it helps me compete with the best people in state.
I want to walk off the track and I want to go home. I feel like throwing up. I don't want to do it. But I feel like once I start running, then all my nerves go away. But obviously when I'm at the starting line, I'm really nervous to where I feel like going home and I don't want to do it anymore.
State track competition will be a 3-day event in Brownsville starting tomorrow and continuing through the weekend. The Victoria West football camp is underway with the start of the 2023 football season right around the corner. The younger athletes from the 2nd grade through 6th grade practice in the mornings, while the older group, grades 7 through the incoming freshmen, practice in the evenings. The older group worked with route running, pass catching, throwing, run blocking, play terminology, and much more. The camp will continue through tonight and tomorrow evening. Freshmen 2-a-days start next week, with JV and varsity starting in just a couple of weeks. The Victoria Generals are on a 4-game win streak after beating the Brazos Valley Bombers to win the regular season championship last night. The Generals went on to win 9-5, and with this win, the Generals will host the championship game. If the Generals make it to the title game in playoffs, the title game will be on August 5th here at Riverside Stadium. The Generals are going to host the Bombers tonight at 7:05. Well, that's your sports. Don and Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Gina. We're going to be back in a moment. A Michigan farmer has a new plan for his farm stand, and it seems to be working. We have the details straight ahead.
Tonight, a Michigan farmer has a new policy at his farm stand. He is offering a pay what you can, take what you need approach. Tyler Bradley is conducting an experiment as he tries to help others and build up his community. The goal is for people to pay what they can. If they cannot, that's okay too. Bradley says people have given back. Those who can pay have been generous, probably hoping to help him continue to do this. That is a fantastic attitude that young man has. I wonder how many farmers in the Crossroads would have that same attitude, considering one thing: we have not had much rain.
Yeah, well,
and it's been a tough summer, second summer in a row, very tough for farmers.
Yeah, and it's like anything, you know, if there's abundance, we share. If there's not, well, then we conserve together. So we have one little thunder shower rolling through the area, headed toward the DeWitt area, DeWitt County. But for the rest of us, we're going to be looking at less and less rain chance as we get into that dry, dusty air that's going to be with us for the weekend. And so we see more sun, less rain, and temperatures still hovering at 100 degrees. Hopefully next week, middle of the week, we'll have another tropical surge coming through. But in the meantime, we're going to say goodbye. And I've got some really good pictures of the one little thunder shower that rolled through today. Don?
They got through the dust.
Yep, it poked through. Poked right through the dust, and it wasn't going to be held back.
There you go. All right, Meg, thank you, and thanks for joining us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.